The Aero L-39 Albatros is a high-performance jet trainer aircraft developed in Czechoslovakia to meet requirements for a C-39 during the 1960s to replace the L-29 Delfín as the main training aircraft. It was the first of the second-generation jet trainers, and the first turbofan-powered trainer produced, and was later updated as the L-59 Super Albatros and as the L-159. A further development of the design, the L-159 ALCA, began production in 1997. To date, more than 2,800 L-39s have served with over 30 air forces around the world. The Albatros is the most widely used jet trainer in the world. In addition to performing basic and advanced pilot training, it has also flown combat missions in a light attack role. Atypically, it has never received a NATO reporting name. At the Farnborough Air Show in July 2014, Aero L-29 announced the launch of the L-39NG, an upgraded and modernized version of the L-39. Design and development: the L-39 first flew on November 4, 1969 and was piloted by Rudolf Duckhoer, the factory's test pilot. Serial production began in 1971. The design is Czechoslovakia. The construction of Aero's chief designer Jan Vlahek. The low, slightly swept wing has a double taper plan form, to a 1/2 deck dihedral from the roots, a relatively low aspect ratio, and 100-liter fuel tanks permanently attached to the wingtips. The trailing edge has double-slotted trailing edge flaps inboard of mass-balanced ailerons. The flaps are separated from the ailerons by small wing fences. The tall, swept vertical tail has an inset rudder. Variable incidence horizontal stabilizers with inset elevators are mounted at the base of the rudder and over the exhaust nozzle. Side-by-side air brakes are located under the fuselage ahead of the wing's leading edge. Flaps, landing gear, wheel brakes and air brakes are powered by a hydraulic system. Controls are pushrod actuated and have electrically powered servo tabs on the ailerons and rudder. Operational G-force limits at 4,200 kg are +8/-4 G. A single turbofan engine, an Evchenko AI-25TL, is embedded in the fuselage and is fed through shoulder-mounted, semi-circular air intakes just behind the cockpit. The engine exhausts below the tailplane. 5 rubber bag fuel tanks are located in the fuselage behind the cockpit. The main, trailing arm landing gear legs retract inward into wing bays. The nose gear retracts forward. A long, pointed nose made of aluminum leads back to the tandem cockpit, in which the student and instructor sit under individual canopies that are hinged on the right. The rear seat is raised slightly. Both ejection seats are made by Aero. The basic trainer is not armed, but has 2 underwing pylons for drop tanks and practice weapons. Light attack variants have 4 underwing hardpoints for ground attack stores. The ZA also has an under-fuselage gun pod. The L-39 was intended to be replaced by the L-159. However, the limited success of the L-159 led Aero to announce at the 2014 Farnborough Air Show that it was developing an upgraded version of the L-39, designated L-39NG, to compete with the Alenia Aramaki M346 and British Aerospace Hawk. The L-39NG replaces the AI-25 turbofan with a Williams FJ44 engine. The airframe is modified, the wingtip fuel tanks being eliminated, and a new suite of avionics will be provided. First flight is planned during 2016, with deliveries starting in 2018. Operational history: Abkhazia. In the spring of 2008, a number of Georgian drones were shot down by Abkhazian separatist forces over the Abkhazia region. The Abkhazian separatist forces claimed that one of its missile-equipped L-39s had shot down a Georgian Hermes 450 unmanned reconnaissance drone. Azerbaijan, L-39s, along with older L-29s, were used extensively in ground attack missions by Azeri forces in the Nagorno-Karabakh War. Several were shot down by Armenian air defenses. Libya acquired some 180 L-39Zos around 1978 which served at Sabah and Akbar Ben Nafi flying schools along with Yugoslav-made G2 Galeb for advanced jet training and Italian-made SF-260s. The L-39s were deployed during the Chadian-Libyan conflict, mainly to Ardidoum Air Base. During the final Chadian offensive in March 1987, the Chadians captured Ardidoum along with several aircraft and Soviet SAMS systems and tanks. A Chadian report to the UN reported the aforementioned capture on 11 L-39s and the destruction of at least 4 of them. In the midst of that conflict, on April 21, 1983, 3 LARAF Il-76 TDs and 1 C-130 landed at Manaus Airport, Brazil after one of the Il-76s developed some technical problems while crossing the Atlantic Ocean. The aircraft were then searched by the Brazilian authorities. Instead of medical supplies was quoted in the transport documentation the crate of the first of 17 L-39s bound for Nicaragua together with arms and parachutes, to support the country's war against US-backed Contras were found. The cargo was impounded for some time before being returned to Libya, while the transports were permitted to return to their country. Syria. The Syrian Arab Air Force has a number of armed L-39ZA light attack variants. Since 2012, during the Syrian civil war, L-39s have been routinely deployed against rebel ground forces and a number of aircraft have been shot down by ground fire. They were first used operationally during the Battle of Aleppo, striking rebel-held positions. Insurgents captured L-39s along with their support equipment after raiding the Al-Jarab base in February 2013, though it is uncertain if the planes are airworthy. Civilian use. While newer versions are now replacing older L-39s in service, thousands remain in active service as trainers, and many are finding new homes with private warbird owners all over the world. This is particularly evident in the United States, where their $200,000 $300,000 price puts them in range of moderately wealthy pilots looking for a fast, agile personal jet. Their popularity led to a purely L-39 jet class at the Reno Air Races, though it has since been expanded to include other, similar aircraft. In September 2012 there were 255 L-39s registered with the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration and 4 registered with Transport Canada. Several display teams use the L-39 such as the Patriots Jet Team, the Breitling Jet Team and the Black Diamond Jet Team. There are also several L-39 available for private jet rides in Czech Republic, France, Germany, Spain and the USA. These L-39s are mostly in private hands, but some also belong to government agencies, such as those in Vyazma, Russia. Variants: L-39X01 a Euro X07, 5 prototypes plus 2 static test airframes. L-39C, standard basic trainer for Soviet Union, Czechoslovakia and export. Originally designated L-39, but renamed L-39C when later variants appeared. 2 pylons under wing. Approximately 2,260 built. L-39 cm, Slovak upgraded C version. L-39M1, Ukrainian upgraded C version with AI-25 TLSH engines. The conversion is carried out by Odysseevia Remzovich and the first plane was ready in 2009. The upgrade of a further 7 L-39Cs is planned. L-39V, single-seat target tug version for Czechoslovakia. Equipped to tow KT-04 target on 1,700 AM cable. Prototype plus 8 production aircraft built. L-39ZO, interim weapon trainer variant for export. 4 pylons stressed for 500 kg and 250 kg, with total external load of 1,150 kg. First flew June 25, 1975, with initial deliveries to Iraq in 1977. 337 built. L-39ZA, significantly upgraded L-39ZO for armed training and light attack, employing sturdier landing gear, a higher payload, and notably provision for a GSH-23L 23mm twin-barreled cannon attached in a conformal pod under the pilot's compartment, having a 150-round magazine within the airframe. Outer pylons wired to carry K-13 or A-60 air-to-air missiles. 2 prototypes, with first flying on September 29, 1976. 208 aircraft delivered. L-39ZAM, Slovak upgraded ZA version. L-39ZAART, Thai version of L-39ZA with Elbit avionics. 40 built. L-39 milliseconds. The Aero L-39 millisecond Super Albatros is a second-generation military trainer aircraft developed from the firm's earlier L-39. Compared to its predecessor, it featured a strengthened fuselage, longer nose, a vastly updated cockpit, and a more powerful, low-tariff Divi-2 engine, allowing operation at higher weights and speeds. First flight on September 30, 1986. It was later designated as the Aero L-59. L-139 Albatros 2000, revised version with Western avionics and 17.99 kN Garrett TFE731-4-1T engine. Single prototype built. L-159, further modernized advanced trainer combat aircraft with more modern, Western avionics and Honeywell F-124 engine. L-39NG, modernized and upgraded version with Williams FJ-44 engine, improved fuel system and avionics. Operators. Notable incidents: September 26, 1986, Mihai Smigheli, a 21-year-old student of the Romanian Air Force Academy, used an L-39ZA Albatros training plane to fly to Turkey and request political asylum. His aircraft was later recovered and board data recorders showed that he had flown no higher than 150 am above ground at 700 km/h to evade radar detection. Smigheli had less than 100 hours at the time, including high school glider training, and less than 3 hours on the L-39ZA. Without satellite navigation or indeed any maps, he navigated a straight line over Romania, Bulgaria and Turkey using only ground marks and a memory of a map of Europe he had access to at the academy. He eventually landed in Kirklareli, Turkey, on a street near a group of jeeps that seemed to have American insignia, breaking the front wheel and the nose of the plane. January 24, 2001, Atlas Air founder, chairman, and CEO Michael A. Chowdhury was killed when his Czech L-39 jet trainer crashed into an open field near Watkins, Colorado, USA. Also killed was Wall Street Journal aerospace reporter Jeff Cole. Chowdhury and Cole were making a planned flight from Front Range Airport, September 11, 2014. An L-39 trainer aircraft owned by the Uganda People's Defense Force, flown by a solo student pilot, Emmanuel Sajabi, crashed shortly after takeoff, from Gulu Air Force Base in Gulu, Uganda. The pilot ejected with minor injuries, but the aircraft was destroyed. Specifications. Data from Jane's All the World's Aircraft 1988 to Euro 89, General Characteristics, Crew, 2, Length, 12.13 meters, Wingspan, 9.46 m, Height, 4.77 m, Wing Area, 18.8 mass squared, Airfoil, NACA 64A012 mod, Empty weight, 3,455 kilograms, Max takeoff weight, 4,700 kilograms, Power plant, 1 Ivkenko AI-25TL turbofan, 16.87 kilonewtons, Performance, never exceeds speed, Mach 0.80, maximum speed, 750 km/h at 5,000 m, range, 1,100 km, 1,750 km. Endurance, 2 hours 30 minutes, 3 hours 50 minutes, service ceiling, 11,000 m, rate of climb, 13.5 meters per second, wing loading, 250.0 kilograms mass squared, thrust weight, 0.37, climb to 5,000 m, 5 minutes, takeoff roll, 530 m, landing roll, 650 m, armament, up to 284 kilograms of stores on 2 external hardpoints, 2 wingtip fuel tanks. See also, related development, Aero L-59 Super Albatros, Aero L-159 ALCA, aircraft of comparable role, configuration and era. Aeromacchi MB339, AIDC-83, ATG Javelin, Bauer Hawk, CASA 101, Dassault Dornier Alpha Jet, FMAIA 63 Pampa, Hongd July 8, IAR-99, Kawasaki T4, PZLI-22 Irida, Soko G2 Galeb, Soko G4 Super Galeb. Notes. References: Lake, John. Aero L-39 Albatros Family, Variant Briefing. World Air Power Journal 43, 116 131. ISBN A1-86184-055-1 Taylor, John W. Janes All the World's Aircraft 1988-89. Coulston, UK, Janes Defence Data, 1988. ISBN 0-7106-0867-5. Mladejevska 1/2, Joseph. Dnepro Albatros, Kapitolio Ina 3/4 Ina 1/2 Rojanu Vlakovi, Ayeska Copyright Mteka Copyright M Constructor Copyright RU, Sky for the Albatros, the chapters about Ing. Jan Vlaek, Czech aircraft constructor. Prava, Noivskoa, external links, Angel 7 Airshows L-39 civilian display, L-39 training system All about the plane, Warbird Ali L-39 page, Hoppers L-39 civilian display team, Czech jet team L-39 civilian display team, Avion de Combat Spanish Aero Vodoc L-39 Albatros information.